Now in this video we will see another demo of nested loop where we are basically interested to print this pattern, this triangular pattern with this star. Well, again, just ignore these hash symbols, those are just for comment. We are basically interested to print this triangular pattern of these stars like this. Okay, so for this one also we have to utilize a nested loop, and this time I will solve this problem with while loop, and you can try yourself to solve the problem with for loop. So let us try to solve this problem. So here basically what I need to do is, so why do first let us try to understand why do we need two loops, and before that let us try to understand what is this pattern saying. What can you see in this pattern? In this pattern what I can see, if you look at it minutely, the first line has one star, then the second line has two star, then the third line has three star, and then the fourth line has four star in this way. So here what I want is the user has to give the number of rows, how many rows you want to print, and following this pattern you have to print the output. That is, if the user input is, let's say, 4, there are 4 rows following this pattern. If the input is 6, then there should be another 2 lines like this. In the 5th row there will be 1 2 3 4 5 star, and then in the 6th row there will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 star. Like this way we have to print. So now let us see the Python program, how it looks like. Let us try to solve it using the while loop. So the first thing, the first loop, what is the responsibility of first loop here? Here the first loop will simply increment these rows, means it will go to row 1, then row 2, then row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, something like this. So let us start with the program. So first let us take like num rows. Let us take the input from the user, like input, enter the total number of rows, like this. So now whatever row number the user will enter, that will be stored inside this num rows. Now let us try to construct the first while loop. So how can I do that? For the first while loop, the responsibility of the first while loop is just moving from one row to another, that is from the first row to the second row to the third row to the fourth row to the fifth row to the sixth row, like this. So how can I do that? That's very easy, right? So let us take a loop control variable called count row, which I will initialize from 1, and then let us write a while loop. So while this count row is less than or equals to 6, because I am starting from 1 and I need to go to until the row 6. That's what the, sorry, it should not be 6, it should be any number of rows that the user input is. So I just wrote 6 from here, but it can be any number of rows, whatever will be the user input. So if the user input is 6, it should move until 6 rows. So that is the responsibility of the first while loop. And here actually just for the sake of clarity, I am simply printing a line over here. So let's see whether it is printing a star in every line or not. We can get rid of this line after. So here if I just run it and it is giving me some kind of syntax error, well, I missed the colon symbol here. So now let us run it. As it is asking me for a number of rows, let's give 6 and let us see whether it prints 6 star in 6 different rows or not. So and here it is less than symbol. So where, oh okay, so here actually I forgot to convert this num rows to integer. So how can I convert it? I can simply use int num rows. These things have been discussed in the input output section in earlier videos, how you can convert a in user input to its equivalent integer or floating point number like this. So if you have forgot that, please look at those videos. So anyway, here I have converted these num rows to an integer. So let us try to run it. And now here if I enter 6, then it is not printing anything. Because why? Because I forgot to modify the loop, right? So in order to print it properly, you have to increment the row count. Count row equals count row plus 1. These are small mistakes that may happen with all of you, so be careful about all these things. So okay, so here I have incremented the row, and now let us try to run it again. So here I am utilizing 6 as is my input, and now if I just run it, I can see that, well, it printed 1 2 3 4 5 6. There is 6 different star in 6 different lines. So that's my first loop is. Well, I really do not want to print the star at this point. That was just for testing. So it is done. So now what we need to do is I have to construct a second loop which corresponds to each row. Now that will basically take care of in which row how many stars will be there. That is, in the first row there is 1 star, in the second row there is 2 star, like this. So what I need to do is, for the second loop again, you have to have another loop control variable, right? So this time let us call it count columns, because this one is basically the columns like this. So this count column will also start from 1. And how long should it go? In the first row it is going to printing, it is going to 1 column, that is printing only 1 star. In the second row it is row is the number of count of the row is 2, and then it is printing 2 star, or it is going until 2 column. In the third row the count row is 3 and count column is printing 3 star, that is, it is going to until 3 columns. So it is going basically in every row, it is iterating the times equals to the number of count row at that time. So how can I represent that? I can do it simply with a while loop, and then inside this while loop I can write count column less than equals count row, because count row is keeping track of the row, whether it is row number 1 or row number 2 or row number 3 or something like that. And then my motivation is to print in each row, I want to print the equal number of star in it. So that's why I started count column from 1 and it is moving until the count row. That is taking care of the row moving the same number of printing the same number of star in that row. So now let us print the star in here. So let us print and then star like this. And now again, what we are interested in, every time we will print a star, we do not want to print it in a new line, right? So let us try to just get rid of this new line using this end equals this space, or you can just get rid of the space also. So here it is. And what we also want is, after every print of the entire row, that is after this entire thing is done, then we actually want to print another new line like this way. So a new line can be printed just by print function with nothing inside, an empty string inside. So like this way. So now let us see whether we get the desired output or not. So here actually, if I run the program, it is asking me for the user input. Let us input 6. And as we can see, it is printing lots of different things, and I believe there is some kind of error. So what is the error? From here it looks like it is printing infinite number of stars. So somewhere I have forgot something in my program. What did I forgot? Well, if you check the second while loop, that is the nested one, I forgot to increment the count column. So if I just increment the count column by 1, then if I just run it, now I can see that, well, I have entered 6 as an input, and now if I just hit enter, I can see that, well, my output is okay. So in the first line there is only 1 star, then in the second line there is 2 star, in the third line there are 3 star, in the fourth line there are 4 star, in the fifth line there are 5 star, and in the sixth line there are 6 star. And not only 6, you can change it with any number, let's say 4. So here also, as you can see, our output is okay, and you can do it some bigger number also, like this 10. So every time it is just printing the pattern following this. So this is how you have to take care of the nested loop. You have to separate out the problems. Well, there are many different examples available over internet for nested loop, and I will strongly recommend to search over internet with like problems on nested loop and try to solve it by yourself, and that way you can learn programming better, because this is one of the complex concepts that you have to master if you want to learn program. So just try to practice as much as possible.